All right, so as you can see, I'm standing here in the Amazon rainforest in South America. Actually, no, I'm actually up in the mountains in the Rocky Mountains. As you can see, I got the trees and the waterfall behind me. So, yeah, I'm just replying to this email here. And yeah, I agree. I think it is a great way to stay in touch, even though it's rather mortifying when I play these back and I'm like, is that me? Oh my God. No, actually, actually, it's given me a feel for how I come across, and so I can start working on that. Start being more polished, more what's the word I'm looking for? Poised, and generally more self-conscious and more fake. I can start going Hollywood on everybody here. So that's the plan. Actually, working on becoming a game show host one of these days. I think that would be kind of cool, or maybe a VJ if something like MTV ever comes back to a decent format. So yeah, so I let me see. That's great that you found work again the last couple of weeks. Evening campus manager shifts, and is that Austin Community College? I'm guessing. It's pretty cool. Congratulations, and that's great. Your wife opened a new salon. So yeah, I hope that works out too, and hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, we'll get through all this. It's you know it's kind of sinking in on various levels. It's like it's been what, 4 months, over 4 months now, in this pandemic, and it's just sinking in various increments. But I'm doing well. I'm handling it pretty well, all things considered. Yeah, I agree. Keeping in touch with loved ones is key, and you're certainly welcome. I appreciate you staying in touch with me, and you know digging the fact that I'm trying something different here. Like I said, these videos are kind of helping me too, and if they help somebody else, that's great. I think it's a pretty good way to stay in touch. The smartphone technology, even before we had smartphones. I remember, I don't know, maybe about 12 years ago, 12, 15 years ago, I don't know when it was, I found out that they came out before they came out with smartphones. They had the flip phones with the camera and video feature, camera phones, and I really dug that. I bought one. I snatched one of those up as soon as I could, and because I've always loved photography, I've always wanted to do film, and just taking pictures. I've always enjoyed that, as I'm sure you remember. If you can remember the '80s, which when you were punk rock and living in Hurst Euless, Bedford in the '80s, if and you drank beer. I mean, if you remember the '80s, you weren't really there, right? So, but yeah, I remember we used to snap a lot of photos, and I've always dug that. Matter of fact, when I took photography at TCJC back when TCC was TCJC, my instructor, one of our assignments was to bring in some of our earliest photographs. And I had this funky old box camera, and it was, even in the late '70s, it was hard to find film for it. And I don't know if it was from the '20s or '30s, it was a hand me down. I think my great grandparents handed it down to my grandparents. But anyway, so it was an old camera, and I took a picture that I didn't know what a vanishing. I didn't know what a vanishing point was. I didn't know terminology like that, and I snapped a couple photos on some railroad tracks, and it had a vanishing point, and those were the first photographs I ever took. I was like 10 or 11 years old, and my instructor